Hi there, hey there, hi diddly do there. Welcome, it's time for a tale. I will now tell you about the four enemies of humanity. Now, yes, there are only now. Yeah, if you're thinking about the great evils, I already did those. I mean, I could probably do them again at some point. all of the great enemies of humanity are tyrant-level tulpas, born of the darkest fears, the worst delusions, and the most evil deeds upon earth. Each wields a cursed artifact of rune that is a shadow of the four sacred treasures of the celestial realm, each who oppose a celestial princess whom are in the hands of the goddess of creation over Earth-Eye's reality, that are fragments of her power given form by dreams and hopes and ideals of humanity to rule over the zones, areas containing infinite realities across the universe of Earth Eye, where each life form is born and draws power and form from. all all the four enemies of humanity together represent violence, tyranny, famine, and madness. The celestial princesses each represent a different aspect of imagination. I am murder car pie in a bin. Being dreams, reality, nightmare, and delusion. All of them were made from the collective thoughts and inner dark. All the great enemies of humanity were made from the collective thoughts and inner darkness that was created by the corruption of the box of evils. That spawned from problems such as endless bloody conflicts that rocked many nations and realities of Earth Eye. Tyrannies with too much power over the people and their lands and nations, artificial and enforced scarcity, and overwhelming and dominating greed with too much power, and the madness spawned from misinformation and mass delusion that gains seats of power and influence over nations. Alright, now, the first one will be in the zone of reality, which is Tyrant F for famine, the starved one. The artifact it wields is known as the colorless beads. Alright, now. This entity resembles a twisted, malnourished, starving, demonic, pale humanoid with a too wide of a mouth, dirty, red, jagged nails, and surrounded by flies and rots is being drawn in all around him. His eyes are zombie-like but are filled with greed. His outfit is a bunch of tattered rags, and his body looks unnatural. He is capable of using gluttony-based true arts that have long since become much rottener and much more all-consuming due to the art's corruption. Alright, I will have to, explain arts corruption one day, because it's basically when, true arts, basically take on monstrous and, distorted shapes due to, dream space basically being corrupted by your inner psyche or something. Yeah, basically, if you're like some sort of, really bad person, that will happen to you eventually. Yeah, alright now, the Starf One's artifact, the colorless bead, represent the beads of rune, and are worn in a string around the neck. The beads absorb life, color, and blood into them, and even people's morality and judgment and joy gets drawn into them, replaced with an endless despair that leaves them staring into the void or being filled with the allure of greed and power at the cost at the expense of others. To hoard and manipulate resources for themselves and gain from it, even if it means neglecting the people or stealing from them and from others in massive bloody conflicts just to get it a bit cheaper or to claim them for free as theirs. It opposes the force of imagination of reality and the Holy Grail, which not only blesses the land and gives people the awakening of the power of friendship and communion with one another, but also pushes people towards sympathy and compassion in their hearts. The Holy Grail representing the Cup Minor Arcana. Oh yeah, the Sacred Treasures, all represent a Minor Arcana, and also, the treasure, also the, Cursed Artifacts are basically based on the Treasures of Rune from Pokemon. Alright, now. The opposing princess is, Little Fox of the Harvest, who resembles a humanoid female farmer with a strange white and red fox-like mask and hiding tails under her true appearance that are six and dipped in each color of the rainbow, and then is clad in a brown cloak carrying a bag of seeds that are signed and carrying a simple hoe in her hands that can turn into any farming or gardening tool to care for the earth, and sees the world and its people as her garden, and embraces the potential of people in reality, as well as giving them the ability to sustain and to provide for themselves and each other in various different ways, while maintaining their world in its order after their thoughts and ideals and visions and beliefs, what she accepts freely. Little Fox of the Harvest uses the true art of farming, which grows and commands crops as well as flowers, trees, and other plant life, as well as tools and powers related to their care in the environment and their environments. The Holy Grail she possesses governs unity and friendship and community to work together towards a beautiful world together while connecting to the world itself around them. Though they can also use the gift of the Holy Grail she commands to destroy and commune with around evil causes it. Although people can use the gift of the Holy Grail, which is given on to basically everybody, like all the sacred treasures are, that she commands, to basically, go after destruction and communion around evil causes and destruction as well, though she doesn't wish for it. Alright, now, the Starved One's personality is like that of a greedy, miserable mire, who scoffs at any attempt at compassion for the poor or disadvantaged, or any charity claiming it nothing but a scam and a humbug. No, he's Scrooge! He wishes to manipulate and control resources, not just for the sake of profit, but to drive the world itself into despair, until a day's wage for a loaf of bread becomes reality. By the way, that's directly from the Bible. Yeah, it's from the Horseman of Famine. Becomes reality through economic and resource control. It believes the world is their oyster, and to suck everything up and spit it out like spinach. Which, is a line from Hexus, from Ferngully, as it despoils the earth. It doesn't care much for joys or celebrations unless it benefits off it. It wants to claim all ideas to serve it while keeping them remain shackled and mistreated. While it shackles and mistreats the people dreaming and making them. And will use slave labor and work people to exhaustion if it means a quick buck. A lot of greed. It believes that this is the grind. It believes that this is the grind. It only sees the world in cold algorithms. It also views anyone asking for fair treatment or fair wages as lazy and entitled, or as parasites. Hey, I know what that is. That's based on American capitalism. Alright, that's enough of that. Okay. None of that. And often works to suppress them from behind the scenes of power while moving things to benefit its horde. It sees what it does as progress while the rest of the world clearly rots around it. Alright, well, that was the first one down. So what do you guys think so far? Alright, now, shall I continue? Please excuse me for just a minute. Alright, now, next one is in the Zone of Dreams, which is the Tyrant T for Tyranny. It is known as the Deep King. The artifact it wields is the Tablet of Wrath. An entity that resembles a half-humanoid, half-creature with a half-humanoid, half-sea creature with a large sea monster as its lower body. But it resembles a massive blue and green marbled fish mixed with a plesiosaur and a shark, and covered in some barnacles. He also wields a Tablet of Wrath, which floats in his hand and is crowned. And this guy is crowned in numerous stars that form a crown around his head. He has a stern look, like he's constantly looking down on others, yet convinced he's a hero. And then closer inspection, his beard is made up of many different tentacles. Oh no, not tentacles! No, not tentacles! I see enough hentai to know where that's going. He is capable of the sea-based true arts that have experienced long ago arts corruption, giving it dark power resembling classical eldritch gods. Oh no! Cthulhu. Alright, now. His tablets, the tablet of wrath, resembles the tablet of ruin, which is formed with the doctrines of various gods, beliefs, and idols, and causes that led humanity astray, and convinced people that each and every one of them was righteous and above every other one. Each and every time, also, the Deep King could indoctrinate people against the enemy and against the other, whom it viewed as weak and whom it viewed as weak and licentious sinners that must be purged for the sake of uniting people under a belief. The Deep King's principles it proposes are absolute in its own eyes, and to be obeyed without question between each iteration, for the sake of true order in its own eyes. While the Deep King actually uses it to rule with an iron fist and bring his wrath upon the quote-unquote sinners of the world, which is its ultimate goal, while making false promises to its followers, whom he promises paradise, when he really means he's going to turn them into sea monsters and slaves to his empire, while wiping out their personalities and members via wiping out their personalities and memories via brainwashing. Is opposed to the paintbrush of fairy, a force of imagination that offers freedom and creativity to the world formed. A force of imagination that offers freedom and creativity to the world and formed the world in its various elements, ideas, and forms, which shared power from the gods of creation to the people, for the people, to build the world and an ideal they wished for themselves, and while working towards creation and harmony, while it represents the wand arcana, which the Deep King views as dangerous and leading the world to sin, and often refers to such things born of this power as witchcraft and devil worship and idolatry. Often expresses manipulative rage at them as such, regardless of their true intentions. Right, the opposing princess is the coming dawn, which resembles a spear of golden glowing rings with a gentle feminine eyes on each rim of them, surrounding a spear of gentle warm light that houses a humanoid woman made of lights inside of it that looks as though it was made of shimmering sunlight, given form and flesh, with golden wings of light. Like a great bluebird of paradise around her form that covers her in a form resembling a flower petal. She uses the paintbrush of fairy as a force of creation, wishes for people to create and make worlds and works, and even topos in their realities after their will freely. It may bring chaos, but she wishes for it to work together, to be free to embrace differences that each other builds upon and builds themselves. But the goddess's hand was inspired by humanity and built their world canvases to contain each of their dreams and realities, and form bridges between them with imagined vision, to connect worlds and cultures and minds between each other that were made from various people's imagination. Alright now. Hey Pathogen, thank you for lurking. The Deep King is despotic, cruel, and tyrannical entity with a personality like a storm, and often speaks in booming declarations with absolute confidence, with an authoritarian, loud attitude, while expecting people to submit and obey without question, and face its much more angry side. I think that's a little bit of misspelling. Yeah, I've noticed several of those. The Deep King believes itself to be loving and just and kind, and often presents himself as merciful while committing acts of evil, claiming it's for the greater good. He is known to engage in insults and show rage when disobeyed or questioned, but then love bombs people the next moment and acts as though he knows best, like an abusive parent over his flock in the world. He believes he is the one true God over the entire earth, and no other gods or ideals or beliefs that he disagrees with that seem to change like that. that he disagrees with are valid, and these seem to change like the sea itself, and are before him. And this kind of ideal changes before, like the sea itself, and are before him, and that if people follow and practice and make what he doesn't approve of, it must face his righteous fury. He also demands devotion and absolute obedience from his followers, and treats doubts and questions with manipulation, rage, and often uses a threat of damnation to keep people in line, or to oppose his will, over the world. All right, you can kind of tell there's a lot of religious stuff in here. I'm sorry about that. I used to, be kind of in a cult, so. Alright. Now, yeah, it's kind of based on, Poseidon as well as, Yahweh. Just gonna let you know about that. Alright, now. Yeah, sir, like how the starving one is, based on, things like unchecked capitalism, as well as being inspired by, the concept of pestilence itself. More as a force of, scarcity, as well as more than a rule of nature. Alright, let's get on with the next one, yeah. Alright, hold on for just a minute. Zone of Nightmare, Tyrant V, which the V stands for violence. This entity is known as the Cleaner. Its artifact is the Bloodletter. I mean, in Dorito, Cool Ranch Pizza? What? Foam! No, there's no Cool Ranch in Dorito, there's no Cool Ranch Pizza, no. Alright now, shall I go on about the Cleaner? This entity resembles a humanoid janitor in a stark white uniform with black stripes going down it in a cold and motionless expression and glassy eyes, and stained in blood and having black-colored shoes and gloves on. He carries a mop and has a bucket with chemicals with him. He also has wings like a butterfly that are stark white with black eye spots on the bottommost wings that resemble, skulls. No, well, it's a white pie, only more orange. Right, sure. Alright, now, the Cleaner is capable of cleaning base true arts, but it suffered arts corruption into a much darker version, mixing it with blood and death. Oh no. Alright, Phone's about to be very happy. Because Doritos, of course. I'm not a Dorito. Why do you guys keep calling me Dorito? I am not in any way, shape, or form a Dorito. His mop is the Bloodletter, which resembles the Sword of Rune. And is an artifact that is capable of taking on any form from its original blood-soaked cursed sword form, which drinks blood into it, giving it a glowing red color, and it's representative of corrupted mediums that have taken on the twisted forms from the original ones. That the Vorpal Sword, the sacred treasure of the nightmare representing the Sword Minor Arcana, is the mother of. Yeah, so basically, this is corrupted, mediums that have been affected by arts corruption. Yeah, alright now. Yeah, Vorpal Sword is meant to be the mother of, all the tools meant to express ideals and ideas into the world and birth their true arts from the talents into creation and use tools of defense and protection of the innocent and oneself against the powers of evil. Like Eldritch Sword, yeah. Yeah, what do you mean, the Bloodletter? Yeah. Hey, turn that down. Alright now, come on. Alright now, and the opposing princess is April of the Cleansing Shower. She resembles a woman with a blue water-like hair and clad in a yellow rain suit that radiates golden light despite being wet, complete with yellow rain boots and a hat, and carries an umbrella with her as she goes. The weather is always swirling and changing overhead, and she wishes for people to use the mediums and true arts to uphold truth, justice, righteousness, and then to work towards a better tomorrow, and to be united in those causes while pushing away from dangerous causes and ideals that will bring ruin. Her purple sword, which for her takes the form of a magical umbrella that is her medium for the true art of weather, which commands the storms, wind, the lightning, and rain themselves, as a shadow of its true form, the purple sword itself being the mother of all mediums, the mother of the force that guides people's hands and gives them, the will and ability to work, to build, or to destroy freely in equal measure, though she prefers they build. Alright, the cleaner is a cold, emotionless, methodical, and viewing as cleansing of all the rotten colors of the world as a necessary evil, that he believes once his work is done and everything is reduced to white on white, an absolute whiteness will remove all the screams, all the suffering, all the sorrow, all the pain forever. Then he is very serious and jokes little and often speaks little as well, unless he needs to. His view of he views the world as an unclean, chaotic place that is jumbled with a massive chaos of ideas, without much rhyme or reason, that just don't mesh together in his eyes, and views most tulpas aside from his allies and henchmen as unclean and as the children of corruption that must be purified to save the world from itself. Alright, so the cleaner is kind of inspired by the batter, but I kind of decided to make him into a janitor. Yeah. Alright, yeah. Alright, now there's still one more tyrant to go for. Alright, now the zone of delusion. This is Tyrant M, which the M stands for madness. Its entity is known as the convinced delusion. Its artifact is the Bowl of Mad Revelry. This creature resembles a massive, distorted, shining ball of light mixed with various ever-changing, images that form its gigantic photorealistic eyes and massive red lips, with humanoid teeth and a long tongue that is spawned from various forms of misinformation and delusions in the universe of Earth Eye that gained too much power and became a massive influence on the world as a whole. And often because its work spread all over the Earth by various well-meaning, demented, and power-hungry people who helped to spread it everywhere. It is capable of using mass media-inspired true arts, however they have long... Hey, turn it down! It's capable of using mass media-inspired true arts, however, they have long since succumbed to art's corruption into a darker, twisted form marred by delusions and misinformation. Its cursed artifact, the Bowl of Mad Revelry, represents the Bowl of Ruin, is often inside its large mouth and laying upon its lair. The wicked bull that wishes to drown the world in empty pleasures and vain pursuits. But that's just for starters. It is filled with every delusion, every form of madness, every lie, every bit of misinformation that spreads and festers into a dirty, blood-like liquid as it is used to lead people into destroying each other and their own lives, all while convincing them they have the real truth, that they see the world for what it truly is. Even when conspiracy or a false way of seeing everyday people and their practices and beliefs and differences in toxic and cruel ways is the opposite of the dream mirror, which allows for insight and perception beyond the know, and for connection of the heart and mind, and for allowing people to build an inner world after themselves, and to help others with their inner worlds and their hearts and minds, as represented by the Coin Miner Arcana. Mayfaxus, thank you for the head pats. I highly appreciate that. Alright, the opposing princess is Stella the Starseer, a being who resembles a yellow-haired young girl clad in a long cape who resembles a yellow-haired young girl clad in a long cape of the night and the stars themselves, and his head is shaped like a big polyhedron star that has a cute girl's face in its opaque surface, and an outfit resembling a magical girl mixed with a solar system science project. She possesses a true art of the cosmos, which allows her to command and use the powers of all forms of celestial bodies. She wishes for people to see beyond themselves and build and make their own minds, their own beliefs, their own ideals, and to develop their charts within themselves and then strengthen their mediums into tools for good and for the good of the world and through their inner psychic worlds in the dream space, which can be accessed via the gift of the dream mirror. Of the dream mirror, whose power is shared across all beings in the universe, to good and bad alike. It being up to them how they decide to use or abuse its gift. Alright, now, that convinced delusion's personality, alright, this creature's personality causes it to speak similar to both an arrogant Karen who spews forth vitriol and delusion about other people and their actions, often talking about nonsensical wrongs it believes they committed, as if convinced every delusion it harbors and represents is the absolute truth, no matter what, and that those delusions, those conspiracies, and those prejudice, seen as fact in its own mind as it sees, are things to be judged and destroyed and purified from the earth itself, and that the offenders are destroyed. It also speaks like a toxic influencer mixed with a Fox News reporter, mixed with its arrogance and entitled delusions. No matter how nonsensical or contradictory what it says is at any given moment, which changes like the airwaves, and each story filled with fear-mongering. It believes itself no matter what and treats it as absolute certain fact and resists heavily being convinced otherwise. From anyone contradicting it must be darn dirty libs and bleeding hearts that are the true ones that are deceived and brainwashed sheep by the enemy. The enemy, being an imaginary enemy, it seems to believe controls the world in secret, that rules the Illuminati, that controls conveniently enough all its opponents, whether they oppose it or he imagines them as being in league with evil itself. Alright, so this is kind of inspired by, mass media misinformation, basically given physical form. Yeah, most notably about Fox News. Alright now. Oh wow, I actually got them all done. And in less than 30 minutes too. Oh wow. I don't know what to say, man. Alright, now let's go look for somebody to raid, yeah. Let's see, who even is on... Oh, Lunasite. Alright, let's see. Oh, Real Knight VT. Alright, now, how about we raid Real Knight VT? Alright, let's go raid them, shall we? I must thank you again for, listening and listening. Oh yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. That legally allows me, that allows me to get your name. By the way, I'm a fairy, that's my thing. Alright, I kid. Alright now, Moonbat swooping in. Alright, Moonbat swooping in to give you rabies and your baby's rabies. Alright, see you later. Goodbye.